They had promised to wait until their wedding night. But on the eve of our wedding, I received news that Sophia Bennett had fallen ill. I rushed to the hospital, my heart pounding. On the hospital bed, she was covered in bruises, and her private parts were swollen and injured. When I asked what happened, Sophia Bennett was evasive. "Oh, I just fell accidentally hiking with a friend," she said, trying to sound calm, but I knew better. Standing just outside the room, I had heard her conversation with her male assistant loud and clear. On the phone, Sophia Bennett, the CEO of a listed company, was utterly submissive, calling the other person Master. "Master, it's all my fault for being weak and fainting, ruining your fun. Master, next time I will try my best to satisfy you." The words hit me like a thunderbolt, shattering me completely. Racing to the hospital, I was consumed with anxiety. I never expected to hear Sophia Bennett talking to her male assistant via video call from outside the room. She was speaking in a hushed voice, complaining, "Next time don't be so rough, you almost ruined me down there." "Are you blaming me?" Julian's voice held a hint of displeasure. Sophia Bennett immediately panicked, apologizing profusely. No, it's my fault. My body is just useless. I didn't let Master have enough fun." I hadn't even fully processed the term master. She was already hitting herself in the face repeatedly. "Master, it's all my fault for being weak and fainting, ruining your fun. Next time I will try my best to satisfy you." In that moment, my world seemed to freeze. Was this woman really the Sophia Bennett I knew? Julian's laughter carried a note of triumph. "All right, chase your boyfriend away later, I'll come to your room to reward you." "Okay, Master." Her voice held barely suppressed excitement. "I'll definitely satisfy Master. I belong to Master, even after getting married. I won't let Ethan Davis touch me." My hand involuntarily covered my mouth, afraid of making a sound. He won't mind? Someone from a simple family like him, marrying me is already a huge step up in class. How could he dare question my business? I stood outside the hospital room, feeling my blood run cold. Sophia Bennett's words echoed over and over in my mind. I couldn't imagine that my radiant, self-possessed CEO girlfriend had such twisted preferences in secret. She was in such an improper relationship with someone else and even looked down on me completely. My hand holding my phone trembled uncontrollably. On the screen was a message from my mother. "Ethan, maybe Mom should book the ticket sooner. What date is the wedding again?" Looking at the message, tears streamed down my face. I had planned to tell Sophia Bennett before the wedding that I was the heir to the Davis family in Boston. There was no class difference between our families at all. Now, I wasn't sure if I should go through with the wedding. Only after the room was completely silent did I push the door open. Sophia Bennett's neck and cheek were marked with several shocking red welts, as if she had been whipped. I instinctively asked with concern, "Sophia, how did you get these?" She avoided my gaze, stammering, "And nothing. I fell accidentally while hiking." Fell like this while hiking? Was she treating me like an idiot? I looked at her, suddenly feeling like a stranger. "Funny how you fell, in straight lines, like whip marks." Her expression changed. "Ethan, what do you mean? Why such a big reaction?" "I was just saying." She was silent for a moment, then suddenly said, "Ethan, you should go back first. I'm fine. It's not good for you to stay here. What's wrong with taking care of my girlfriend?" I stared into her eyes. "Or are you waiting for someone else?" Her pupils constricted sharply. "Sophia, remember what we said before? If we stopped loving each other, we'd break up amicably." Even now, I hoped she would be honest. I could accept her betrayal, but I didn't want to be kept in the dark. She panicked. "Ethan, don't overthink. We're getting married soon, we've bought the apartment, I've ordered the custom suit you like." She said a lot, but she never said she loved me, and she didn't answer my question. I suddenly felt very tired, a tightness in my chest. "Okay, I'll go now." I forced a smile, turned, and left. But I didn't really leave. I hid around the corner of the hallway. About 20 minutes later, a man in a trench coat walked past. It was Julian. He pushed open the hospital room door and locked it from the inside. I stood rooted to the spot, listening to the sounds coming from inside, feeling my stomach churn. Taking out my phone, I sent a message to my mother. "Mom, don't come, wedding is cancelled. I'll be home in a few days." Then I opened the recording function and aimed it at the room. The sounds from inside made me want to vomit, but I forced myself to stand there. Back at the apartment, I mechanically threw everything related to Sophia Bennett into garbage bags. The couple's mugs, couple's pajamas, even our only photos, were torn to shreds. I finished cleaning up at 3 in the morning and finally collapsed onto the bed, exhausted. But not long after I fell asleep, I was woken by a frantic ringing. It was the smart lock alarm at the apartment. Dazed, I picked up my phone and opened the monitoring app. On the screen, Julian was sitting on the sofa, arrogant, wearing my custom suit. The suit that should have fit my body perfectly fit him strangely well. It seemed Sophia Bennett had never really intended to order it for me. And Sophia Bennett, she was wearing a strange, revealing outfit, kneeling on the floor, eagerly licking Julian's toes. Having fun? Julian laughed, looking down, placing his foot on Sophia Bennett's face. Yes, I love licking Master's feet the most. Sophia Bennett looked infatuated, like a dog wagging its tail and begging. My stomach churned, and I nearly threw up. They were doing this in my apartment. Julian laughed smugly. Kat, it was fun doing it at your place wearing Ethan Davis's pajamas too, but doing it now in your apartment is even more stimulating. My mind went blank. So they had even been in my place, wearing my clothes. Furious, I threw all the pajamas into the trash. Just then, my phone beeped with another notification. Against my better judgment, I continued watching the monitor, only to see a delivery person enter the room. As I watched in confusion, Sophia Bennett and Julian, oblivious to his presence, began. The delivery person's face turned pale with fright, and he dropped the package and fled. I couldn't watch anymore and closed the monitor. I couldn't understand how Sophia Bennett had become like this. I started to doubt if I had ever truly known her. Sophia Bennett had always been well-mannered, everyone in college praised her composure and refinement. Now, everything she did was so disgusting it made my skin crawl. The next day at the company, seeing Sophia Bennett walk towards me, I instinctively took several steps back. She looked confused. Ethan, what's wrong? I looked at her coldly. We're breaking up. She pulled me into a conference room, looking anxious. Ethan, are you angry because I didn't come home these past 2 days while I was in the hospital? I looked at her, trying to suppress the revulsion in my heart, and said calmly, Chloe has told me more than once that you and Julian were acting inappropriately in the office. Chloe was an intern in my department. She had mentioned Sophia Bennett and Julian a few times before. I hadn't taken it seriously, thinking it was just a young girl overreacting. Now, looking back, I realized how blind I had been. Sophia Bennett's face changed, and she argued, Julian is my assistant, it's normal to have a lot of contact with him. Haven't I already explained? Intimate enough to sit on top of each other eating fruit? Her face paled drastically when she saw my ICEXP. Ration. She actually knelt down and started sobbing. Ethan, I was wrong. I promise I'll keep my distance from him from now on, I'll fire him right away, okay? Please forgive me this once, I truly love you, I can't live without you. Her pleas made me feel a little soft-hearted. She was always proud and rarely groveled like this in front of me. Maybe she still loved me? After a moment's hesitation, I decided to give her another chance. Alright, as long as you don't contact him anymore, we won't break up. Her tears stopped, and she laughed, wrapping her arms around my waist. You're so good to me. But her touch made me feel sick, and the sense of distrust lingered. Just then, I saw her phone light up beside her. The contact name was Master Husband. The message read, come to the office soon, let's play something exciting. My face darkened, but I forced myself to remain calm. I hope you can do what you promised, otherwise, we're done. She swore profusely, promising she would keep her word and that she couldn't lose me. After leaving her, I opened the monitoring app for her office. She had installed it before for my peace of mind. It had always been linked to my phone, she must have forgotten about it. Less than 5 minutes later, Julian entered the office, and they started kissing as if no one was watching. She had lied to me again. Ethan Davis just tried to break up with me, Sophia Bennett said, sounding like she was reporting her achievement. But I listened to you and managed to coax him back. Why break up when you can make love with Master in front of him on your wedding night? Without him, we wouldn't have the thrill. Master, how about we train him to be your slave too? I stared intently at the screen, my fingers turning white from clenching. It turned out her attempts to win me back were fake, her love was fake. She just wanted to keep me around as part of their game. Julian stroked her face with satisfaction. Good girl. But what's the F? In just watching us? On your wedding night, I'll find a few men to play with him, you won't be angry, right? Sophia Bennett frowned, but seeing Julian's expression turn cold, she quickly said, No, I won't be angry, Master can do whatever you want. A chill ran from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. Those repulsive words were truly vicious. Julian stood up from the desk, a wicked smile on his lips. Seeing how good you are, Master needs to give you a good reward. He pulled out a bundle of red ropes from a storage cabinet and expertly tied Sophia Bennett to the sofa. The woman who was usually so high and mighty was now docile like a dog. I forced back my nausea and started recording. This big gift was something I needed to keep safe, for a surprise I had planned for them. Just as I was about to go to HR to submit my resignation, I ran into Mrs. Bennet. She was dressed in designer clothes, her eyes openly contemptuous. Let me tell you, even if my daughter likes you, I don't approve of you. People from simple families like you with inferior genes don't deserve to have my grandchild. After the wedding, I'll find a suitable father through IVF. You remember to quit this job. Just stay at home and serve Sophia well. I laughed in anger. Before, for Sophia Bennet, I had gone out of my way to please her. Now, it seemed like a complete waste of emotion. Your Bennet family's genes aren't exactly noble either, maybe you don't even see yourselves as human. I hinted pointedly, but she looked confused. She became furious. What do you mean? The wedding hasn't even happened yet and you're giving me attitude? I didn't bother arguing with her and walked straight past. She looked at the resignation letter in my hand and sneered. Oh, so you think you'll be living off her now? No need to pretend to be self-reliant anymore? TSK TSK TSK? I smiled faintly. Exactly, I don't need this job, and I'm not pretending anymore. I hope Mrs. Bennet can still SM. I'll at the wedding. I decided to give the Bennets a big gift, a surprise they would never forget. There were 3 days until the wedding, enough time for me to arrange everything. I didn't know if Sophia Bennet was injured by Julian, but she said she would stay at the Bennet family estate for the few days before the wedding. I replied with a cold okay. My phone's smart home app notified me that the door to the apartment had been opened again. I suppressed my nausea and continued recording. Just then, a message from Julian popped up. You don't know, do you? I put a camera in your bedroom. I know you saw. You're really composed, wearing a cuckold's hat and not making a fuss. Well, I'll send you a big gift then. My heart sank. The key code lock on the door beeped, indicating the correct code was entered. The door opened, and 4 men filed in. One of them was holding a video camera, waving it at me. The man leading them had a lewd look in his eyes, sizing me up with a disgusting glint. This one's hot, I heard he's still a virgin. Frightened, I turned to run into the room. But one of the men grabbed my hair and yanked me back hard. What are you doing? Don't touch me. The men laughed loudly, and several of them grabbed me. Your fiancé sent us to teach you how to enjoy yourself. Why are you so nervous? One of the men said, reaching out to tear my clothes. Get away. I'm calling the police. I struggled desperately. In the chaos, I knocked over a storage cabinet. The heavy cabinet crashed down, pinning me. A glass ornament of some kind stabbed deeply into my abdomen. The intense pain made my vision go black, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. The men saw the shocking blood on the floor and backed away in fright. Isn't someone going to die? One of them nervously took out his phone and called Sophia Bennet. Miss Bennet, your boyfriend seems to have reacted violently and is injured. What should we do? I spat out another mouthful of blood. Both angry and hateful. So these people really were sent by her. The men took a few photos to send to Sophia Bennet and said awkwardly, Miss Bennet, we can't play with him like this, we'll be leaving. Maybe you should call an ambulance for him. Saying this, the 4 men planned to slip away. The blood loss made my vision blur, only the instinct for survival kept me going. I didn't want to die here. Please, call an ambulance for me, I won't call the police. I used my last ounce of strength to shout. The men hesitated, considering picking up their phones to call for help for me. Sophia Bennet's impatient voice came through the phone. Don't bother with him. I'll save him later. Master. The men immediately relaxed, looking at me sympathetically. It's not that we won't save you, it's your fiancé who won't. Just as I was sinking into complete despair, I heard the voice of my family's butler. Young master. What have you done to our young master? Following that was a commotion of arguing. When I woke up again, I was lying in my own bed, my wound bandaged. My parents sat by the bed, their faces filled with worry. Seeing me awake, my mother held my hand, tears streaming down her face. Ethan, you've suffered so much. If I hadn't felt something was wrong with you suddenly canceling the wedding, and sent the butler to check, we would have buried our son. I gave a weak smile. It was so good to see my parents again. My heart ached, and tears followed. I'm sorry, Mom, it's all my fault. I'll never disobey you again. Thinking back on everything that had happened, I felt even more guilty. Actually, I originally had an arranged match since childhood, but I was unwilling to accept the arrangement and insisted on going to college out of town. That's where I met Sophia Bennet, who was also a club member. I hid my family background and fell in love with her. I defied my parents, even threatening to break ties with them to cancel the engagement with the FA. Her child family. To help her start her business, I helped her find investments everywhere, often enduring business dinners until my stomach bled, but I gritted my teeth and persevered. My parents couldn't stand by and secretly injected capital into her company, which allowed her to go public in the past 2 years and establish herself in the Bennett family. When she proposed to me at the IPO celebration, I thought we had finally overcome everything. But in the end, she did this to me for Julian, who had only been with her for 3 months. I briefly told my parents what had happened recently. My father was furious. Sophia Bennett is utterly despicable. Who does her Bennett family think they are? I don't even take them seriously, and she dares to do this to my son. My mother also said bitterly, all these years of helping her, we raised an ungrateful wretch. My father sternly said he would make Sophia Bennett pay. Seeing my family stand up for me, my heart felt warm. Just then, the butler came in to announce, Eleanor Fairchild is here. Eleanor Fairchild, my former fiancée. She carried gifts, elegant and poised. Uncle and aunt, I heard Ethan was injured and came to visit. She greeted my parents politely, her gaze lingering on me intentionally or unintentionally. My parents chatted with her for a while. Looking at the accomplished Eleanor Fairchild now, my mother couldn't help but sigh, it would have been so wonderful if Ethan had married you back then. Eleanor Fairchild's lips curved into a smile with an unspoken meaning. It's not too late now, I am still willing to fulfill the betrothal. Back then, to be with Sophia Bennett, I had caused a lot of unpleasantness between our families. Eleanor Fairchild hadn't said anything at the time, just offered me a simple blessing. Now, she was actually still willing to marry me? As the heir to a century-old family, she couldn't possibly be unable to find someone better. I couldn't help but lean into my mother's ear and whisper, Mom, does she have some kind of hidden illness? Or some difficulty? My mother spat at me. Who do you think the Fairchilds are? For Eleanor Fairchild to become the heir, she's gone through countless tests. Any dirt on her would have been dug up long ago. I awkwardly stuck out my tongue, but my heart was even more confused. What did Eleanor Fairchild want? After much thought, I finally agreed to the marriage. Eleanor Fairchild's mother and my mother were best friends, so at least the mother-in-law relationship wouldn't be a problem. Although I wasn't close to Eleanor Fairchild, I figured we could at least be respectful towards each other. As for love, I didn't care about that anymore. Meanwhile, Sophia Bennett was frantic. When she rushed back to the apartment, she only saw the shocking bloodstains on the floor. I was long gone. She frantically called my phone, but it remained unanswered. Early the next morning, she stormed into the company, only to be told I had resigned. Who approved that? She slammed her hand on the desk, seething with rage. The HR manager shrank back, frightened. The old madam gave the order, we didn't dare disobey. Sophia Bennett was speechless with anger, returning to her office with a grim face. Not long after she sat down, Julian walked in and pulled her into a hug. What are you so angry about? He said nonchalantly. Didn't you say he was boring and rigid? Sophia Bennett's face remained sullen. The wedding is right around the corner, he's disappeared now, how am I supposed to explain this? Julian kissed her cheek, a calculating glint in his eyes. I'll be the groom, how about that? Sophia Bennett managed a strained smile. She admitted that being with Julian was exciting, but marrying him. She instinctively thought of me, that was her image of a perfect husband. Sensing her hesitation, Julian's expression instantly changed. He slapped Sophia Bennett hard. Master wants to marry you, and you dare to refuse? No, I'm willing. Sophia Bennett denied it reflexively. Julian was satisfied and stroked her head. Good girl. When I heard that the Bennett family's wedding was proceeding as scheduled, but the groom had been replaced by Julian, I felt a sense of relief. I was worried she wouldn't go through with it, then how would I deliver my gift? I opened my phone. Sophia Bennett had sent many messages. Ethan, I know I was wrong, but tomorrow is our wedding. Come back, and I'll explain everything to you, okay? You are the only husband I recognize. Julian truly thought he had Sophia Bennett under control, unaware that they were both scheming. At the wedding venue, Julian wore a lavish custom suit, looking triumphant, but Mrs. Bennett's face was ashen. Although in her eyes neither I nor Julian were worthy of Sophia Bennett, she would have preferred me, the more stable son-in-law, over this frivolous Julian. Stop smiling like that, it's unseemly. Mrs. Bennett couldn't help but scold him. You old hag, it's none of your business. Julian scoffed. He was secretly calculating, planning to send the troublesome old woman abroad after they were married. He thought smugly that among the dogs he had trained, Sophia Bennett had the best family background. His rise to power was all going according to his plan. As the officiant announced the start of the wedding ceremony, Sophia Bennett kept looking towards the door. Julian pinched her in annoyance. She frowned, looking at his overly powdered face. She thought with distaste Ethan Davis would never wear so much makeup. He was handsome and refined, perfectly fine without any. That hurts. Go easy. Sophia Bennett impatiently shook off Julian's hand, her longing for me growing stronger in her heart. She took out her phone and drafted a text message. Ethan, do you really want me to marry other men? Julian and I are just a temporary measure. It's not too late if you come now. As soon as she pressed send, she saw the bright D exclamation mark. I had blocked her. Sophia Bennett's face instantly turned dark, and a surge of anger rose within her. She had humbled herself so much, and I was still playing hard to get. That ungrateful man. The wedding march began, and the officiant's syrupy voice echoed through the hall. Next, let's revisit the sweet love story of the happy couple. The large screen suddenly went black, and then a video appeared, completely inappropriate. In the video, Sophia Bennett was disheveled, kneeling on the floor like a dog. Julian, in revealing attire, stood high above her, wielding a whip. The scale of the images and the perverted content left the guests wide-eyed. Disgraceful! Disgraceful! The Bennett family's relatives were fuming. They could accept Sophia Bennett having affairs, but they couldn't accept her being played with like a dog by a man. Mrs. Bennett's eyes rolled back, and she fainted on the spot. The scene was chaotic. Julian panicked. He grabbed Sophia Bennett's hand, asking with a choked voice, "What do we do now?" Sophia Bennett slapped him hard across the face and roared, "Get out!" She had never been so humiliated in her life. This not only ruined her reputation but could also affect her position in the Bennett family. For the first time, she regretted seeking excitement and indulgence with Julian. Now, everything was ruined. Julian was stunned by the slap. He covered his face, looking at Sophia Bennett in disbelief. By the time he reacted, Sophia Bennett had disappeared into the crowd. He stumbled after her, but his phone vibrated just then. Like it? This is my big gift for you. Julian trembled with rage. He clutched his phone, his face contorted, gritting his teeth. Ethan Davis. I sat in a coffee shop, watching the video of Julian losing his mind on my phone, finding it both ridiculous and satisfying. Eleanor Fairchild sat across from me, her long fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. Satisfied? Her low voice held a hint of a SM. I put down my coffee cup, a slight curve on my lips. Of course. This is just the beginning. A cold glint flashed in Eleanor Fairchild's deep eyes. Sophia Bennett and Julian's good days are over. I raised an eyebrow, interested to hear what she would say next. Eleanor Fairchild didn't disappoint. The shocking videos of Sophia Bennett and Julian spread across major platforms overnight. Julian's messy private life was also exposed, making him a pariah. The Bennett family was utterly disgraced, kicking Sophia Bennett and her parents out, completely abandoning the family that had tarnished their name. Sophia Bennett's company was also affected, partners canceling contracts, the cash flow drying up. The formerly high and mighty CEO now had to humbly beg for help everywhere. Even companies she used to look down on, she had to smile and drink with. Mr. Roberts, look, would your company be willing to give us this project? Sophia Bennett's voice held a hint of fawning. She had already been forced to drink 2 bottles of whiskey, her stomach churning, burning with alcohol. Ms. Bennett, I heard you have special habits? Mr. Roberts smiled ambiguously, his hand resting inappropriately on Sophia Bennett's hand. Coincidentally, I do too. How about we get to know each other more intimately before discussing the cooperation? A fake dog tail lay on the sofa. Sophia Bennett looked at Mr. Roberts' disgusting face, her stomach churning, but she didn't dare refuse. If the company didn't get any more projects, it wouldn't last. She had to grit her teeth and bear it. She remembered how I used to handle these business dinners for her. Had I also been harassed like this today? Before, she had only thought business deals were easy for me, never realizing how hard I worked. Now, she finally understood how difficult it was. She remembered one time when a client almost forced a kiss on me, and I complained to her afterward. She had casually said, "That happens when people are drunk, don't make such a big deal out of it." Now, she had to endure the same humiliation. She awkwardly agreed and was half-hugged by Mr. Roberts as they left the private room. Just then, she saw me. I was standing by the road, Eleanor Fairchild gently holding my hand, seemingly waiting for a car. Mr. Roberts was still talking incessantly in her ear. Looks like good news for the Fairchild CEO, that guy is so lucky, dating the heir to a top family. Sophia Bennett stared blankly at me until Mr. Roberts led her towards us, fawning, when she realized she was still being held by Mr. Roberts. She struggled awkwardly but was slapped on the butt by Mr. Roberts. Stop moving. I looked at Sophia Bennett's pathetic state, finding it only amusing. Miss Fairchild, what a coincidence. Mr. Roberts bowed and scraped in greeting. Eleanor Fairchild merely gave a slight nod in response. Mr. Roberts chuckled awkwardly, about to say something else. But Sophia Bennet couldn't help but speak first. Ethan Davis, I never thought you were a man who climbed the social ladder. I really misjudged you. You're fundamentally a man who values money over everything else. The fawning expression on Mr. Roberts' face instantly vanished, replaced by terror. He slapped Sophia Bennet without hesitation. What the hell are you talking about? Miss Fairchild, this kid and I are absolutely not together. My deepest apologies. He bowed and scraped, practically bending over backward. Sophia Bennet was stunned by the slap. She violently pushed Mr. Roberts away, as if to unleash all her humiliation on him. Get out! Who would want to be associated with trash like you? Her eyes were red, staring at me intently, like a trapped beast. Ethan Davis, did you leave me because of this woman? Just because she's richer than me? I sneered, looking at her mockingly. Sophia Bennet, you're really good at turning things around. After doing those disgusting things, you still have the nerve to ask me why I left. You? What, did those men who went to prison that day not turn you in? Her face instantly turned deathly pale. She remembered Julian saying that day that he wanted me to behave, and then he found some men. That wasn't my idea. Seeing the situation turn sour, Mr. Roberts slipped away. I couldn't be bothered to waste words on Sophia Bennet. When the car arrived, I went to open the door. Sophia Bennet grabbed my wrist. Ethan Davis. Eleanor Fairchild's eyes narrowed, and she stepped in front of me. Ms. Bennet, if you keep harassing my fiancé, your company probably won't last until the end of the month. Sophia Bennet's face contorted, gritting her teeth. He was originally my fiancé. We were about to get married. Eleanor Fairchild's expression was cold, her gaze dismissive. Originally? He was betrothed to me since childhood. Who do you think you are? Perhaps you should worry about saving your crumbling company. Sophia Bennet finally realized that her recent difficulties were caused by Eleanor Fairchild. She wanted to say more, but the car door had already closed. The next day, major news websites published intimate photos of me and Eleanor Fairchild, the headline boldly announcing Fairchild and Davis families announce alliance through marriage. Seeing the news, Mrs. Bennet excitedly showed her phone to Sophia Bennet. Sophia, Ethan Davis is actually from a top family in Boston. Hurry and get him back, our company will be saved. Sophia Bennet sat slumped on the sofa, her eyes hollow. He's getting married, how can I get him back? Mrs. Bennet slapped her impatiently. Crash the wedding. He loved you so much, stayed with you selflessly for 7 years. You go, he'll definitely leave with you. Sophia Bennet's eyes lit up. With Mrs. Bennet saying this, she also thought I still loved her. She thought it was a brilliant idea. My wedding was set for 10 days later. Although it was somewhat rushed, Eleanor Fairchild didn't make me feel slig. Hide at all. She personally handled every detail of the wedding, even having 10 custom suits made overnight for me to choose from. So many, how can I try them all? I sighed, feeling a bit helpless. Her eyes looked at me seriously. I don't want you to feel a single compromise on our wedding day. Choose the one you like, nothing else matters. I truly want to marry you. I looked at the tenderness in her eyes, and my heart warmed. With Sophia Bennet, she hadn't managed anything for the wedding, I had handled everything myself. Even the style of the custom suit was something I had chosen. There's no appreciation without comparison. Now, I finally experienced what it felt like to be cherished. On the wedding day, I wore the custom suit Eleanor Fairchild had personally chosen. I stood at the entrance of the church, waiting for the most important moment of my life. The church was packed with guests, surrounded by flowers, everything was beautiful like a fairy tale. However, just as the officiant was about to pronounce Eleanor Fairchild and me husband and wife, the church doors were suddenly flung open. No! I object. Ethan, you can't marry her. Sophia Bennet screamed, bursting through the security guards like a trapped animal, stumbling in. Her haute couture wedding dress was wrinkled and dirty, like a crumpled mess. I frowned. To avoid such a scene, I had specifically increased security. I didn't expect her to still find a way in. The guests in the wedding hall whispered to each other, their curious gazes sweeping between us like spotlights. She stumbled towards me, clutching a ring in her hand, her eyes infatuated and desperate. Ethan, have you forgotten our 7 years? Have you forgotten our past? Have you forgotten that we once? I cut her off. I haven't forgotten. And I definitely haven't forgotten the sight of you kneeling in front of Julian, licking his toes like a dog. And the disgusting way you screamed about being a pathetic whore. You Mac. Me feel like the 7 years I spent with you were a stain on my life, a criminal record that can never be erased. Her face instantly turned deathly pale, her smile rigid as she still forced herself to say, "Ethan, that was just a temporary lapse for me and him. I have truly repented now. You can't marry her. The person you love is me. Only I can give you happiness." I looked at her, a sense of unspeakable absurdity welling up inside me. Where did she get this confidence? I even started to wonder if there was something wrong with her mind. I clicked my tongue in annoyance and told the security guards nearby, "Get her out of here." Several security guards immediately stepped forward, trying to drag Sophia Bennett away. She struggled desperately, screaming hoarsely, "Ethan, give me another chance. Please, give me another chance." She broke free from the guard's grip and suddenly knelt in front of me, begging humbly, "Ethan, as long as you come back to me, I'll do anything you want. I'll give you whatever you want." She suddenly pulled down the top of her wedding dress, revealing my name tattooed on her chest. "Look, Ethan. I tattooed your name on my body. I belong to you forever." Her eyes were wild and obsessive, like a cornered beast. I suddenly shielded Eleanor Fairchild behind me, staring at Sophia Bennett with a heavy gaze. I called for more security guards, and they swarmed forward, pinning Sophia Bennett down. She screamed in despair, "Ethan, why won't you admit you love me? Why?" I raised my hand, signaling the guards to stop, and looked down at her, my voice full of disgust. "Just seeing you now makes me sick for nights. Like your mother said, there's a class difference between us. Something like you, not even human, doesn't deserve my love." I paused, as if suddenly remembering something, and reminded her in a seemingly kind tone, "By the way, you should probably get tested when you get back. Julian seems to have HIV, maybe you do too." Her strug. Please abruptly stopped, and she froze completely. Several security guards also flinched and quickly let go, avoiding her as if she had a plague. She seemed to have lost all her strength. Forgetting to declare her love for me, she spun around violently and ran out, stumbling. Eleanor Fairchild leaned in and whispered, laughing softly, "Where did you hear Julian had HIV?" I leaned in closer to her as well. "I lied. It's actually syphilis." She gently brushed my nose with her finger, saying indulgently, "Naughty." We exchanged a smile, turned back, and continued with the wedding ceremony. The officiant's solemn voice resonated, pronouncing the vows. My hand trembled slightly, clasped in Eleanor Fairchild's warm palm.